off you go.
Okay, so we're here today with Melanie Procter, and Melanie is the owner and founder of Phuket Cleanse, which is a health resort or health retreat that Angie and myself have been coming to. My wife Angie and myself have been coming to for many years, and it's the premier health wellness resort in this part of Thailand. Melanie, how would you describe Phuket Cleanse?
Oh my gosh, that's
Where
a
would you
tough
start?
question, isn't it? That's a really difficult question. That's the hardest question people ask me. I would say people nowadays are helping me with this, and they're calling it like a wellness playground. Mm-hmm. When I was a child, I used to go to Disney World all the time because I'm from Florida. And I actually designed in my own little neighborhood with all the kids when I was 10, like a theme park, like a little Disney World in the neighborhood. And I built like all little rides for us to play with. And then I grew up and I actually worked for Disney. I was an Imagineer and designed things, and I designed a lot of educational theme parks. And this is to me a wellness educational theme park, but it's very interactive, participatory. So we have a real educational aspect to it, but the goal is that you can play with everything in wellness. You can play with the most cutting edge, workouts, and we have everything, right? We have a menu of fantastic workouts, and a lot of them we invent. You can play with all kinds of cooking, healthy cooking. We have all kinds of nutrition talks. We have meditation. We have a very rich meditation program. So we're just trying to be not just the cutting edge, but to be the creators and the Imagineers of the newest, latest trends in health and wellness. And we like it. I like to think of it as a playground. I don't know if
it's interesting you mentioned that, because with the Disney roots, there's certainly an aspect of fun here.
Yeah.
That you don't traditionally associate with health and wellness type resorts. You associate with hard work and eating healthy, but it's not that good. The food here, Melanie. Now, just tell me a little bit about the food here. Where does that all come from? It is the best food of all time.
Oh wow!
It is. It's 5-star restaurant food served up in like buffet style, and eat as much as you like. It's just superb.
Well, thank you.
But it is healthy.
Yeah,
it's not steaks. It's not chicken. What is it?
Well,
how would you describe it?
It's the same thing. It's a playground. I've got a playground going in the kitchen, and I'm an inventor. I invent theme parks. I invent technologies. I invent workouts. I invent meditations, and that's the kind of Imagineer I always was in my previous career. When I was working in theme parks, I was really an inventor, and the food is just the same. I trained myself as a chef. Starting in '92 as a healthy chef, and also worked with some great chefs. I was a raw chef at one time, but now that I have all the skills as a chef, after being a chef for 20 something years, now it's just a playground. Like I just every day think, where can we go? What could be done? Kind of drives the kitchen staff crazy, but it is. I don't know if you feel it. It's. Well, I feel we're just getting started actually. So next year when you come again, you'll see all new things.
Well, the food just keeps getting better and better, and of course, one thing that perhaps may not have come across in what Melanie said is that there is an emphasis on raw, isn't there? There's definitely an emphasis on raw.
Yes. We started off. Interestingly enough, we started off doing only green juices. And people would green juice the whole time, and actually that's where we got the best results.
The entire retreat, the entire time they were here, it was just green juices only.
And no fruit, so they tasted
So it was
horrible.
like a fasting.
It was green juice
and
fasting and exercise, and the results were crazy. Like whether it was weight loss, whether it was people were trying to heal diseases, it truly was the best results. But people were miserable, and they never came back. And they never want to drink juice again.
Right.
So then I, said, well, the next best thing we can do raw food. So I was trained originally as a raw chef, and so we were only raw for many, many years. But in the last year or so, I've decided it's best to just meet people where they're at.
Guinness World of Records, the world's largest juice menu.
There's not that many. There's only 75 juices, but
I
you think that there was a larger menu than that. But as far as they can find, we're the largest. Right. So you could have the most incredible juice detox, and I wish people would do that more. I made it very creative so that people could, have like fun and craziness with the juice menu as they would with the food everybody's having so much fun with.
Yeah.
But I have to say, juice fasters, they're just around all this amazing food and they don't last very long. So maybe someday I might find a way to separate the two, separate the dining rooms or something, so people can have a crazy wild juice fast, and that's the concept behind it.
Sure.
Crazy wild juice fast.
With this whole Phuket Cleanse, who influenced you, or where did the whole concept come from? Because it's one thing to do Imagineering, but to actually do this concept that you've actually so successfully put together, it's quite extraordinary.
Well, thank you.
Who are the people that sort of really inspired you?
You know what? I actually think it was, as I mentioned, it started, I went to Disney when I was 5, and we used to have to go all the time. And I just loved the way they created, these different realities there and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really started building these things in my neighborhood. I mean, I influenced me. I was an obsessive reader, and I was always interested in the cutting edge. And so I started reading books that led to this place when I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
My first sort of, in terms of like the meditation side, the metaphysical side, which you can get here too, if that's what you're into, but you can also get some pretty hard workouts. So we wouldn't call it a metaphysical center, but I can say the training I did on the whole spiritual side, I started when I was 7, and probably started with my friends and I, we started training ourselves to cook in the kitchen when I was like 8 and 9 and putting theme parks together. I can't say anyone ever influenced me.
So there's no one single figure.
Nobody.
Right.
I just was
just
obsessed.
From all sorts of
I
areas.
just grabbed, I would become obsessed with different areas of wellness from a very young age, and just play with them, and then start inventing. Once I mastered the skills, then I would start inventing the next level of what it could be.
Sure. One thing that a lot of the people here do talk about a little bit is it being a little bit of a bubble. I mean, it's the most magnificent bubble we ever stepped into.
Yeah.
How do you take that home and live it in the Western world with the diet, the lifestyle, the stress, the chronic time pressures and lack of sleep that we all have? I mean, we get so many good lessons here. What do you think is the key to taking it home and living it?
Well, first of all, I feel like what we're doing here is we're generating momentum in people. Like, people start with the food and they're just getting more excited and they're thinking about it and they're going to classes. So that seed is planted, and every day they're here, they're building their own momentum. When they leave, there's quite a momentum going. And they get home and they buy, all the food, the equipment to make this food, and they have the food often waiting for them. So we leave them with some momentum. And the next thing is, most of the people make friends with people here and end up staying in touch, and I think that group support is helpful. But I have to say, if I was to give somebody a trick to keep it going, is to have pattern busters, because we know that even though things are going good for a while, we get stressed at work and we start into some unhealthy patterns, eating bad food, drinking, whatever it may be. And honestly, I think the best pattern buster is learning to do just a quick juice cleanse. If you can do like a simple juice cleanse, just use your blender, make green smoothies or make juices, whatever you can. Do that for a day or two. If you get into a bad pattern, if you have these pattern busters that will allow you to bust that thing that's going on, you can get back on track. And truly, that is my number one piece of advice, is to learn to like the juices here and learn to do a juice cleanse. So
it's not difficult to learn to like the juices. It's just a matter of doing them at home.
Yeah.
Tell me, what are the biggest myths and sort of like mistakes and things that you see in the whole sort of like health wellness industry? What are the things that get on your boat a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I used to be a part of it. I mean, I used to feel like we would, when I was 100% vegan, I said everybody had to be vegan, and then I said everybody had to be in ketosis, on a low carb diet, and is being dogmatic, I think, and pushing that on other people, because I feel people really need to get in touch with what their body's wanting at any given time, and honor that, and not, you can listen to the people trying to share different food ideas. Play with it and see what feels good to you. I don't think there's one right dogma anymore. Maybe that's my dogma now.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I would really like people to start paying attention to how certain foods feel for them and what excites them, and I think that's also going to help them stick with it.
Yeah, indeed. Is there any topic right now that you're particularly interested in? I know when we were here last time, you were ahead of the curve as usual, talking about getting sunlight.
Yeah,
I mean, I've being a plastic surgeon, I've said for years and years to people, don't get yourself in the sun.
Yeah.
And then you were saying, get yourself in the sun, like at
Yeah.
selected times for selected reasons, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
That was last year.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything specific now that, or any topic right now that's really exercising your mind?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. Last year I was always teaching like a lot of health classes or supplement classes, and now I'm doing a lot more with meditation and growing our meditation programs. So that's what I'm into now. But again, it's all about just meeting, people where they're at. And I don't think I used to honor people where they're at. And I feel like everybody's program, everybody's practice, what workouts they do have to be honoring what's exciting for them. So I would say if there's a new thing I've got, it's follow your highest excitement in every given moment. And that's your guiding star. So I say when you go to the restaurant, you look at that menu, look at what lights your soul up, what makes your heart swell a little bit, and that's the right thing for you. As long as, hopefully you're looking at a healthy menu.
Like pavlova or something like that, or.
Well, hopefully, yeah, hopefully you're looking at a healthier menu. But just, if you really pay attention to that little swell in your heart you get when you're excited or when you fall in love, that could be a nice guidance system for people. And I'm really trying to encourage people, instead of listening to everybody out there, going within and start paying attention to their inner guidance about food, about workouts, about meditation. And
do you have a particular mindfulness routine yourself? Like, do you have a morning meditation ritual? Or?
Yeah. Well, I'm still really into the sun. I actually meditate every day, especially in the morning, like bringing the sun into my eyes and into my body. And it's funny because I knew how powerful it was, and I actually had some... there's a machine called a GDB camera that measures how much energy your body's holding. And they found that after my meditation, after the meditations I do, I have an enormous amount of energy in my body, and also the machine shows how the energy is flowing, and I have like an incredible flow of energy, no blockages. So it kind of surprised me. That's just after my meditations, and again, this is just a practice of just being in the sun, allowing the sun to come into my eyes, and just letting it come into my eyes and pulling the light into my body. It sounds very esoteric, but I had some very interesting measures on it with this device.
And there's more and more being written about that sort of stuff. Like what I find really interesting is when we come here, we hear of stuff that then is becoming slightly more talked about and then more mainstream several years later. And at first it's a bit like, yeah, really? And then you go, well, actually, it's good, solid stuff. Tell me, when is the Phuket Cleanse cookbook coming out?
Oh, that's the number one question to do.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. I didn't know that many people actually asked it. Because I only just heard about it the other day. And I'm thinking it's just going to be such a good seller.
Yeah, it's an honor that anybody would ask, even one person, but we do get asked every day. I think what we need is, and I put this out there for anyone out there reading this, I'm looking for a shadow who can just shadow me in the kitchen and write down everything that I do, everything my staff is doing. I think it's the only way to get the recipes, because we're really creating in the moment. It's just a flurry of creativity going on, and we are looking for shadows, So that might speak to somebody. You don't have to pay to be a shadow. It's not going to be easy work, but it's a great way for someone to really learn to cook, someone who can really pay attention to the details and get it all written. Yeah. So the answer to that question is, as soon as I get some brave shadows who will follow us around in the kitchen.
Indeed. I'd just like to say thank you, Melanie, for hosting Angie and myself here. You and Stan, great hosts of this place. And thank you very much for speaking with us. It's an absolute honour to come here, and I always learn something.
Oh, good.
And this is the ultimate place for great food, huge amount of exercise and workout, but also the metaphysical and getting within yourself and getting to learn about your own self. Also, learn lots of technical things about food, nutrition, metabolism, diet. It's a great place to come. Phuket Cleanse.
Oh, thank you so much.
Owner and founder, Melanie Procter.
Thank you.